Hello everyone, welcome back with me Yanti Damayanti. Today I will introduce a famous traditional game in West Java. This game is usually called Congklak. Before I practice the game of Congklak, let's throw back with the history of the Congklak first. Congklak is the type traditional game that was famous in ancient time. This game uses a wooden board that has 14 to 16 holes with the two holes at the end of the board. This game is played with seeds or small stones that were played moved in one hole to another hole in a cycle in sequence. This traditional game was so popular and widely played in West Java in ancient time. Even so, usually the other kids were not play came together watch this game. Of course, this provide cool and fun entertainment at its time. Unfortunately, this game is rarely to be played and can be said to be extinct because time have changed and now the kids or children tend to prefer play modern games with cell phones rather than traditional game. Even so, there are many traditional games have a good benefits development for the children, both for development of thinking to training physically. That way, there is nothing wrong with the community or children of the current generation, knowing Congklak as a traditional game that become attention in Indonesia. In addition, parents can also introduce Congklak to their children as reference game that can be done to reduce that use of everyday gadgets. Get to know the Congklak. The first thing that's need to know the Congklak can be started from understanding first. Congklak is a type of traditional game that uses a wooden board with round holes totaling 14 to 16 holes. Of the total number of holes in Congklak board, two of them are larger and located at the end of the board. This game is played by seed or small stones from one hole to another. The Congklak seeds are transferred in a circular manner in sequence. This game can only be played by two people. History of the Congklak. After understanding and getting to know Congklak in general, then there are the history of Congklak that you need to know. Maybe some of you think that the game Congklak comes from Indonesia, but actually before entering and being popular in Indonesia, this game has gone through several distribution lines. Congklak is a game that comes from the ancient culture of the Middle East. It is estimated this game has existed since 7000 to 5000 BC. Then, this traditional game was brought to mainland Africa and then spread in Asian countries through trades. Then, this traditional game was brought to mainland Africa and then spread in Asian countries through trades. When entering Indonesia, this game is often played by the children of nobles who often meet with trades. In the Middle East, this game is called Congklak, which means is move, while in Indonesia, it is more often referred to as Congklak or Dakon, especially for the Japanese. Different for the people of Sumatra, this game is known as Congkak. Dentuman lambang in Lampung and Mangkawetan, Magaleceng, or Anggalancang for the people of Sulawesi. In other countries, of course, this game has increasingly differs of different names. After getting to know Congklak from the history, next you also need to know how to play Congklak. As mentioned earlier, Congklak is played by two people facing each other on the back side of the Congklak board. When the game starts, each small hole on the Congklak board is filled with 5 to 7 seeds made of sapodilia seeds or shells, or you can also use small stones. Meanwhile, the two large holes at the end of the board are left empty. As the game progresses, board play will move the seed from one hole to another in sequence and alternately. How to move the Congklak seed is done in clockwise direction, where one hole is played by one seed and so on until the seed head in the hand run out. The game continues until the player loses a seed, but the game can also be stopped when both players want to stop. At the time, players will count the number of seeds they have. The player who has the most number of seeds is the winner. Benefit of playing Congklak. After knowing the history and how to play the Congklak, here are some of benefits of playing Congklak that you can get. As it's known, various traditional games have many benefits that can be obtained, starting from physical training, brain development of condition, and so on. Here are some of the benefits of playing Congklak that you need to know. Train counting skills in children. Train children's thinking skill to formulate the best strategy to win the game. Train and harness attitude and obey the rules, where each player does not know how many seeds and drop it. Then each player must be honest by filling each house with one seed when making his turn. Practicing patience, where each player must be patiently wait until his own turns. Because this game is done alternately and cannot be scrambled. Okay guys, that's all the information that I can give about the traditional game of Congklak. I think we can keep this game because it's very nostalgic our childhood. I think this all is enough. Sorry if there are some mistake. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.